I've also worked with the Indians, all independently, not with the actual team. I've had Cavs players. I've even had Olympic ice skaters, but football is the majority of my professional athletes. And each position is different. Same with any other sport. I worked a lot with linebackers, with offensive linemen, defensive linemen, wide receivers, and cornerbacks. Each position is a little different with what kind of injuries they sustain and also with what muscles get overused, especially the linemen and the linebackers. Cupping has multiple benefits, helps get the circulation. It's helping your brain pinpoint that there's a problem spot there. I'm trying to get some new blood flow to the area. The marks don't necessarily mean the darker they are. It's not like it's bad if it's really, really dark. When you are working with an athlete, if they're coming in right before their game, I'm not going to go as hard as I can on them. I'm just going to try to get them prepped, get their blood flow, get them energized for the game. Afterwards, when they have their game, I'm going to go a little bit more aggressive, but not too aggressive because they are still bouncing back from the game. They're going to be pretty sore. So I'm going to go in with a nice pressure, do a lot of stretching, just kind of get the blood flow, feel any spots that might have gotten hurt.
Welcome to Fightful Nutritionist Podcast. Today I'm here with Maricel Galarza, a massage therapist that works with professional elite athletes. Maricel Galarza is a licensed massage therapist, wellness entrepreneur, and owner of MG Sports Massage plus Recovery Lounge in Rocky River, Ohio. She specializes in sport massage and therapeutic bodywork and is certified in Gaston technique, cupping therapy, and assisted stretching. Through her business, she also offers modern recovery and wellness services, including infrared sauna, compression therapy, red light therapy, and other recovery-focused treatments designed to help clients move, recover, and feel their best. Passionate about recovery, self-care, and helping people feel their best, Marcel combined hands-on healing with an empowering approach to wellness, creating a space where athletes, busy professionals, and everyday clients can prioritize recovery and overall health. As a Latina business owner, she is passionate about building community, inspiring others to invest in self-care, and growing a wellness brand rooted in education, healing, and resilience. Why do you do the job that you do? What inspires you? Why a massage therapist?
I actually started off as a cosmetologist, and I loved the way clients felt after they got their hair done. And I wanted to experience pretty much doing everything inside a salon and spa. I went to massage school, and I ended up really liking that better than doing hair. After clients come in with pain and they leave feeling so much better, they feel like a new person. It just makes me feel like I've done something good for them.
We often see on TV cupping, athletes walking around with marks on their body. Can you please explain exactly what it is and what are the benefits?
Cupping has multiple benefits, helps get the circulation. It's helping your brain pinpoint that there's a problem spot there. I'm trying to get some new blood flow to the area. The marks don't necessarily mean the darker they are. It's not like it's bad if it's really, really dark. Sometimes you can put cups on and won't leave a mark, but it's still working internally. Essentially, it's pulling the skin and the muscle up into the cup. So once you release it, your brain registers that area, and then some new circulation can go through with the blood and then blood flag in there. The Graston is instrument-assisted soft tissue mobilization. So you use these stainless steel tools, and it's like a scraping technique. It works really well for scar tissue, breaking up the fascia. I like using it for around the joints. The blades are a little bit thinner than like your fingertips, so sometimes it could get in there a little bit better and really break up that fascia. So then I could get in there with my hands and then do the rest of the work.
Which are the main issues you see when you work with athletes?
Athletes typically do have some scar tissues, especially if they've had surgeries or injuries in the past. But mostly I'm trying to get them to be able to perform for their season without having pain. Different sports have different issues, but I mostly work with football. They're constantly getting beat up at practice, at games. They also push themselves with workouts and things like that. My goal is to get them healthy and feeling good. So when they do go to practice, they don't feel as sore and beat up afterwards. Also helping them prevent from getting any injuries, keeping them stretched, keeping them flexible. really helps with preventing them getting hurt during games. Overall, just getting their bodies back to feeling 100% after being beat up all day.
When an athlete come to you, is mostly for recovery, injury, they just like massage. It's the reason.
A little bit of everything during the season. They're definitely coming to keep their body healthy for the season. From pro athletes, sometimes they go once, twice a week, after games, before games, sometimes even in between. Some athletes might even go every day. It just depends on how physical they're being. Anywhere between high school, college, they're a little tougher because they are in school. Some high schools come once or twice a month. And then colleges. I have some college students that are away at college, so I see them when they're on their off season or if they're back home visiting. But typically, I try to recommend them to at least get it once a month while they're there. They get it for staying healthy. Some of them just like the massage, makes them feel better, helps them de stress. The one side of being an athlete that some people might not realize is that there's a lot of emotional and psychology with it. Some of them, especially if they're going through an injury, or if they've had an injury, sometimes coming back can be very hard mentally. Sometimes that just builds up in stress in the body. So the massage can help relax them and get them nice and loose and make them feel better and de stressing. There's multiple reasons why they get massages during the season, but mostly when they are in season, it's usually to keep them healthy during, keeping them feeling good and not sore and helping them recover from their workouts and their practices.
Is there a specific sport you work with? Because in professional sport, the injuries are going up, especially in baseball or in NBA. They have a lot of soft tissues injury. Is there
Yeah.
any specific sport you work with or not really?
I started off with football with the NFL, the Cleveland Browns. I've had them as independent clients, and I've also worked with the Indians all independently, not with the actual team. I've had Cavs players. I've even had Olympic ice skaters, but football is the majority of my professional athletes, and each position is different. Same with any other sport. I worked a lot with linebackers, with offensive linemen, defensive linemen, wide receivers, and cornerbacks. Each position is a little different with what kind of injuries they sustain and also with what muscles get overused, especially the linemen and the linebackers. They're always tackling, so their bodies are going to hurt different than what the cornerbacks and the wide receivers get.
It's probably not very easy to massage them, but they're no small man.
No, it's a workout for me, especially the
I'm sure it
bigger
is.
guys. Yeah. But they're pretty great though. They know how to keep their body nice and loose so I can get in there if I'm trying to do any stretching. They help me with it. I'm not fighting against them. Sometimes it's painful, so your body naturally wants to tense up. I work with them and easing them and getting in there so we're both working together and I'm not stressing my body with it.
Which specific position you see generally more issues?
Wide receivers have to do, and same with cornerbacks, they do a lot of cutting when they're running. They have to do those quick movements. So sometimes their hips and their lower body gets pretty beat up. But same with like linebackers and linemen, they're always tackling. I dealt with a lot of shoulder, pec injuries over the years. Their bodies kind of get broken down and sometimes do just because they are kind of bigger men. Their joints take a lot of the hits too. Sometimes they deal with tendonitis with their knees, with their elbows, even with their bicep and things like that. I've worked pretty much all over the body, but typically if I have a wide receiver, I'm usually working their hips, low back, hamstrings, and glutes, and the whole area.
I remember when I was 14, I played semi-professionally to soccer, or how we call it here in the US. In Europe, we call it football. I remember I had something on my glutes. I don't remember exactly what it was, but I remember the sport massage therapist told me, here the towel, put it between your teeth. It was really, really, really painful. I still remember
Yes.
this day.
It gets pretty painful. I've joked with some of my athletes. Some of them come up with safe words, as they call it. I typically just tell them if it's too much, just let me know. I don't like to overwork anybody. And if it's too much for them, I like to back off, let them reset, work on another area, and then come back. But it can be pretty painful. And some people are pretty good with just doing that, putting something in their mouth and just going through with it. And others, we take it easy. If I have to do it in multiple sessions, I'd rather do that than putting their body through too much stress. Because if they're tensing, then I'm not helping them with it. So I try to work with them, get in there and resolve the issues without it being too much stress for them.
It was a long time ago. We're talking about 4 years ago. Is it still like that, or massage therapy has evolved through the years? How's that?
There's like different, I know Graston at one point was taught to be very aggressive. And then when I took the course, they weren't as aggressive with it. You will get some red marks and almost looks like road rash with it. But back in the day, they used to really go at it with it. If you see some Graston videos, you'll see that the real marks when they're working on you. I tend to be a little bit more gentle with it. I don't feel like you need to go in as hard with the tool. It's more of assisting me with the massage than I'm trying to fix something with the tool. But a lot of people think sports massage is just the deepest pressure you can get. And the way I look at it is when you are working with an athlete, if they're coming in right before their game, I'm not going to go as hard as I can on them. I'm just going to try to get them prepped, get their blood flow, get them energized for the game. Afterwards, when they have their game, I'm going to go a little bit more aggressive, but not too aggressive because they are still bouncing back from the game. They're going to be pretty sore. So I'm going to go in with a nice pressure, do a lot of stretching, just kind of get the blood flow, feel any spots that might have gotten hurt, any contusions or anything that they got within the game. And then usually midweek when they come in for their massages, that's when I do the aggressive, getting in there, getting out any tight spots, any problems that they have. It's not always about the pressure. It's just more about knowing what areas are affected while they're playing, what areas they're overusing. If they are playing football, they're getting tackled, how they hit the ground, all of those things will affect how they're going to feel after the game.
Do you see sport massage and the type of work you do more common today in sports than it used to be, or it's almost the same?
I do see it more common. I get a lot of clients that come in. A lot of the athletes are talking more about their recovery and the things that they do to help keep them healthy. Football, typically they don't play until they're in their 40s or 50s. Baseball, you could play a little longer. Football players, when they take care of their bodies and they're getting all the recoveries that they need, whether it's with their nutrition, stretching, the massage, even the mental with it. A lot of clients will come to me and be like, oh, I heard so and so said they get massages during the season. And I wanted to try a sports massage because I go to the gym, I lift every day, and I've been having this issue. A lot of people are more open to getting the sports massage versus just the deep tissue. The athletes kind of help with that because they're starting to be a little bit more open about their recovery and how much they spend on themselves to keep them healthy during the seasons.
I was reading that LeBron spent 1.5 million a year in recovery.
I think he has his own personal massage therapist and also has some other people on their team. There's usually a sports medicine doctor involved, a physical therapist, and things like that.
Of course, he has the means. You mentioned that you use a lot of techniques and devices. Is there a specific techniques or device that you particularly like to use?
I do a lot of myofascial technique in my massage. And if I'm using any tools, the two tools I'd normally gravitate to are cups or the Graston tools. I like using the Graston tools for around the joints, especially. And then the cups. Typically, when I'm working on somebody, I'll feel first what is going on. And then if I feel like a spot that's just going to either give me a hard time to get in there, sometimes I'll throw the cups on there just to loosen it up a little bit. And then I'll take them off and then I'll go in. And then we do this back and forth with the cups, place, let them sit for a little bit, do some movement with it, take it off, do some massage and to help really break it down. It's better for the client because then if I'm just trying to do it with my hands and my body, it's going to be very intense for them. And there's layers of breaking down the muscles, especially the ones that are super deep down inside. Using those tools help assist with it, but I don't rely on the tools to fix the area. I like to get in there with my hands and my forearms and break it up that way. Sometimes just having a little bit of assistance with the tools help. Yeah.
In professional sports, there is a lot of discussion about red light therapy. Of course,
Yeah.
you can spend either from a few $100 to several thousand. What is
Yeah.
your experience with red light therapy?
It's newer to me. I just got a few lamps in my studio that we've been using. I did have one player who had a very nice red light. It wasn't a bed. It was like one that hung over the bed. And it was one of those a little bit more on the pricey side, but it had some other stuff with it. It also had some infrared heat with it and it felt really nice. I would massage him while he had the light on and he loved it. He felt the benefits of it. While I worked on him, I could feel the difference than not working with it, but it is still newer to me. I'm still learning all the benefits and stuff with it. So far, clients seem to like using it as add-on with their massage.
When you work with an athlete, which are the most challenging situation that you find?
Sometimes the schedule, they have practice, they have things that they have to do outside of football, whether if it's with their charities that they're doing or just events around the city. Scheduling could be hard. Most of them will do 90 minutes to 2 hours. And sometimes it's just the timing. If I have other athletes, I try to give everybody their time frame that they want. So they have football, they'll play Monday night. Sometimes they play Thursday night. The schedule gets cramped and getting everybody in the time frame that they want can be the hard part of it. Other than that, especially football players are pretty big guys. Just keeping yourself healthy, working out, and making sure you take care of yourself too as a therapist will really help benefit them. Because if you're in pain, you're not going to be giving your best massage to them. And that's what they're paying you for. I always tell new therapists to take the time, either go to a chiropractor, go do PT, go to the gym, get massage yourself. Just make sure you're taking care of yourself.
You seem to see many logistic problems, of course, with the active life they have. But from your point of view, when you actually do massage, which are the things that are a bit more challenging or that you see frequently?
Typically, range of motion. Sometimes they're just not as flexible as other players that with the tight muscles, trying to loosen them up and helping them with the range of motion, getting them back. That could be challenging, working an area, a couple sessions just to get loosened up. Sometimes people have knots that just are there and they just don't want to go away. Some people outside of football have come to me and they're like, oh, I've had this knot in my shoulder for 10 years. Trying to break that down and get through that can take multiple sessions. And for most athletes, they understand, and most clients will understand too, but sometimes it's hard to explain to somebody who doesn't know about the body why it takes multiple sessions to break it down. Other than that, the actual physical work of getting in there and just breaking everything up could be pretty challenging.
Because we're the society, everything has to be quick, easy, and right now, unfortunately, it doesn't work like that on any side.
Athletes also have that mindset. They're used to the pain. They want to work through the pain. If they are injured, they want to get back as soon as possible. And sometimes you just need your body to go through the recovery. But that's also another challenging part because they just want to go out there and play. And if they do it too early or too soon, they can re-hurt it or hurt it even more. Getting that point across to them is a little difficult. Some of that is out of my scope as a massage therapist, so I leave it up to the doctors and the PTs to deal with it. But sometimes they express to me how they feel good, they want to play. And then sometimes I just, from a massage point of view, would tell them, this is still feeling tight. If you go out there, you can do more damage to it. It's hard getting that point across too.
Why an athlete should see you, what they should expect, and why they should come to see you? Which are the benefits?
Benefits are definitely helping them stay healthy during the season. Because they get massages doesn't mean that they're not going to get injured. If they're playing football, they have guys tackling them. They jump, the wide receivers jumping, grabbing balls, landing on the ground. Any of that can cause injuries, but helping your body stay as healthy as possible, keeping your body nice and loose, ready for the game, getting the blood flow pumping, getting your body energized, and also the stress part of it. Some games can be very stressful if you're a first-time pitcher in the MLB and it's your first time getting up there, or let's just say first year pitcher, and you're getting up there for the first time throwing a game. That's a lot of pressure on you, especially if it's in the playoffs or anything like that. Just looking at it from a stress point of view, just helping your body relax and decompress. But definitely during the season, I usually recommend to my athletes once a week while you're in season, at least. You could do it before the game, after the game. If they're only going to do once a week, I prefer after the game. That helps soothe everything over. But really before and after is the best that they should be doing during the season. And then on the off season, I also tell them that they should still continue to get the massages with professional athletes. So sometimes they have some downtime, they go on vacation, they do things during that time frame, still get the massages. You don't have to get them every day if you don't want to, but when you start picking back up doing your off season workouts and things like that, you should start picking up the massages again. When I've worked on them on the off season, they're super tight because they're working out. They're getting a lot of workouts in. They have the OTAs and everything like that. They're just super tight. And then if I start them during the off season, by the time the season starts, they're ready to go. They're feeling good. They're not as tight. The range of motion's pretty good. And then continuing that during the season will help them stay as healthy as they can.
Let's picture the perfect scenario. An athlete should get a massage daily, 3 times a week, or only before and after game is enough. From my understanding, what you said, the bare minimum would be once a week, ideally post competition.
With non-pro athletes like high school and college, sometimes financial situations can play a factor into it, but ideally once a week during your season would be best. But if you have the means, before and after games are definitely a good one. And then depending on whatever sport you're playing, basketball and baseball, they usually play a lot. Baseball has 2 to 3 games in one series. Those I usually recommend going every day. The baseball players and basketball players that I've had, we usually worked on them every day. I've had some where I worked on before the game, after the game, on the same day, and then same thing as they were in their series. I did travel with my baseball player, so I will work on him before the game, after the game. Football, they typically do twice a week, but sometimes they'll do more. Definitely getting them prepped. They usually do a couple days before the game and then like a day or two after the game. It's a good time frame for them. But there's nothing wrong with getting more massages. If you're doing it every day, that's totally fine. In the long run, it's just going to help you. I have clients who are not professional athletes that like to work out a lot, and they come weekly to see me, and they can tell the difference. If they go on vacation or something and we don't see each other and they come back, they could feel the difference of getting the massages weekly versus skipping them. Ideally, once a week would be good for just as a starting maintenance thing, but before and after games is a good for athletes.
So that would be the bare minimum once a week. Did you have any athletes coming from other states just to see you or flying over somewhere?
I still see my basketball player when he's in town. He plays for another team now, but every now and then when he's playing against us, he'll call me up. I've had other players reach out through their agents. Sometimes their agents are agents of my players from the football team. So they'll just be like, hey, are you available? I've had that. I did travel with my baseball player when he was in with us. I would switch on and off with I believe it was his sports medicine doctor. When he flew, I stayed home. And then when he couldn't go, then I would fly with him. And then typically with football, I stay more home, just work on them. When they're here, they typically play on Sundays. They'll travel the day before. And I just usually see them on Fridays, and then usually Mondays or Tuesdays when they come. I like after the game. They usually come back the same day after the game. Usually Monday evenings is usually when I'll see them. And then Monday, I believe that's their off day. So I'll see them on Tuesdays too.
Do you live in a wrestling state, which is Ohio? There are a lot of wrestlers,
Yeah.
also fighters. Did you ever seen those athletes, and what do you think? What do you observe?
I have like high school and college wrestlers that come see me. I do have a client who comes to the studio who is in the minor league for wrestling, like the WWE. He comes and sees us, and then he'll refer people to. I haven't really worked on any fighters. I've worked on some MMA and jiu-jitsu, but they're not like professionals, or they just do it for like a workout. But I haven't really worked on any of them that were like professionals in those sports.
Generally, wrestlers, they're quite dense. How was the massage wrestler?
They're interesting. They definitely almost stocky. Like their muscles are so tight, dense, then you just have to work through all of that. It could definitely be a workout for myself trying to get in there. For the most part, most of them are pretty flexible, especially like the jiu-jitsu. Most part, the ones they do their kicks and things like that I don't even think I could kick that high. They're pretty good with the flexibility part, but definitely working on the tight and just breaking down the muscle, the fascia, like just getting in there could definitely sometimes be compared to some of those bigger football players. But yeah, it's interesting. It's different than the other sports.
Which is the athlete, not specific person, but the sport in general, that it's harder, and which is the easiest?
The bigger the guy, obviously, the harder it's going to be on you. But sometimes you could be surprised because some of them football players are actually pretty flexible. You would think that some of them would not be, but they do actually have some pretty good range of motion. A lot of them do take care of that part of stretching and getting their bodies mobile. But just because they are bigger guys, sometimes they can be harder on you to work through that. The ones that are kind of challenging to me are the repetitive injuries. So baseball, even basketball, they kind of have more injuries because of doing repetitive motion. And those could be kind of tricky because they're constantly feeling it. It's like tendonitis. It's really tricky to make it go away quick enough for them, if that makes sense. Those could be challenging in just the work itself, but body challenging, I think, is working on the bigger guys. So more like the football players. I haven't worked on any rugby players, but they're also pretty big guys too. But yeah, those are, I would say, probably the toughest ones.
Rugby have different rules from football, but there are certain positions where you sit the legs. They look. I don't know how a human being can have legs like that.
Yeah. And
No.
I joke sometimes that some of the football players that their leg is the size of me. One leg is just as big as I am. And when you're lifting in and trying to stretch and moving the positions to get into different body parts, it could be a little challenging because sometimes you have to hold their arm or their leg while you're trying to work in the other area. It could definitely be more of a workout for yourself trying to work on the bigger guys, but it's fun.
Is there a difference to work with the muscular athlete but not big? Is there a special technique when you work with these particularly large and strong athletes?
Not necessarily. I still do the same techniques and I do. Sometimes the bigger guys will require more pressure. I'll do certain things to help with that. I will lower my table a little bit more so I could get more leverage with my body, especially if they are a little bit heavier, putting their body, like their leg, if I want to work in the inside, like the growing area and the inner thigh area, sometimes I will position their leg so the table's holding their leg for the most part. And then using pillows, sometimes I do travel to their homes and to the hotels. So if I don't have a means of a pillow, try to carry like towels with me that I can roll up and then stick under their leg. That way they're not trying to hold their leg up and I'm not trying to hold their leg up. Just using what you can in there. I typically like to sit when I do their arms because that way I'm not holding their arm while I'm trying to work on it. I can leverage the table in my lap and I just put their arm across my lap and then that way I can use both my hands and get in there. I'm really big with taking care of your body while you're massaging. I know in school they teach you certain positions on like your stance on how you're supposed to be. But I try to make my body as comfortable as possible. Sometimes sitting, doing certain parts. If I'm doing the IT band, I like to sit so that way I'm at their level. I'm not trying to bend at all these awkward angles to try to get in there. But I still can give them my pressure if I'm sitting versus standing. It's just more be mindful of myself. I do have scoliosis. So if I'm twisting in a wrong way, my back will act up. I'm very cautious of you're positioning yourself as a therapist while you're working on them. And when I try to teach and when I hire new therapists, if I see them doing something, I'll try to tell them, like, just be mindful of your body because you don't want to be in pain. That's how you can keep a long career in doing massages if you're taking care of yourself. If you're going to do all these awkward bending and putting strain on your body, you're only going to last a couple years, especially working with athletes.
Thank you very much for coming on the show. It's been a real pleasure. And I'm sure a lot of athletes learn a lot from you today. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.